Welcome to Astro Talk and our new series, Astrologien in der Astrologie, Astrologies in Astrology. And today we will talk about this book, Astrologies, Plurality and Diversity in the History of Astrology. And if we go to Sophia Center Press of the Sophia Center in the University of Lampeter Wales Trinity St. Davis, we can read the Sophia Center Press presents an anthology comprised of a selection of papers from the Astrologies conference organized by the Sophia Center, University of Wales, Trinity St. David, and held in Bath on the 21st till the 25th of July 2010. The broad range of topics explored in these papers reflects the impressive diversity of techniques and underlying philosophies infusing an enduring human perception of meaningful relationships between the heavenly bodies and life on Earth. The papers are grouped into three basic themes: the symbolism of astrologies, the history of astrologies within different cultural contexts, and the practice of various astrologies from both insider and outsider perspectives, although astrology has been treated in many scholarly works as a monolithic entity. All of the papers in this book demonstrate one of the paradoxes of astrological thought and practice: the existence of a relatively stable tradition of cosmological and astral representations and ideas combined with the adaptability that has enabled astrologies to meld with different spheres of human endeavor in a variety of cultures. Contributors include Bernadette Brady, Nicholas Campion, Robert Collis, Martin Gunston, Nicholas Goodrick Clark, Liz Green, Darylene Günzberg, Robert Hand, Jay Johnston, and Gary Phillipson. And if we look at the book, it says on the cover the same thing it says on his homepage. And I will now go into some commentary of the book. A review and exploration. Astrology has never been just one thing. Whenever we speak of astrology in the singular, we often forget that there are many astrologies, different systems, different cultural expressions, different purposes. The book Astrologies, Plurality and Diversity in the History of Astrology, edited by Nicholas Campion and Liz Green, and published by Sophia Center Press in 2011, makes this point its central theme. Drawing together essays from leading scholars and practitioners, it explores how astrology has manifested itself in multiple forms, adapting itself to culture, philosophy, politics, and spiritual need. Across its pages, we are invited to see astrology not as a single entity, but as a tradition of continuity and change, of stability and adaptability. The editors frame the work with a clear statement: although astrology has often been treated as a monolithic tradition, the reality is paradoxical. On the one hand, there is a relatively stable symbolic system of planets, signs, aspects, and houses that stretches across cultures and centuries. On the other hand, each society has shaped astrology to its own needs, generating plural astrologies. This insight runs through the book, guiding the reader from reflections on symbolism to historical case studies to insider accounts of how astrologers actually read charts today. Symbols, Maps, and Meaning. The opening essays focus on the language of astrology. Liz Green examines signs, signatures, and symbols, exploring how astrology functions as a symbolic system. She shows that the astrological symbol is not a simple signpost to fixed meaning, but a layered language deeply tied to imagination and culture. Bernadette Brady takes this further in her essay on the horoscope as an imago mundi, a microcosmic map of the world. For Brady, the chart is not merely a technical diagram, but a mirror of reality itself, a way of seeing the world in miniature. This perspective reminds us that horoscopes have always been more than data. They are cosmological maps embedded in how people imagine their place in the universe. A different philosophical voice is brought in by Gary Phillipson, who draws on the thought of William James. By situating astrology in the context of James's pragmatism and radical empiricism, Phillipson suggests that astrology's value lies not in proving itself scientifically, but in the way it generates meaning, belief, and lived experience. This line of argument resonates with practitioners who see astrology less as a predictive science and more as a participatory art of meaning making. Astrology in History and Culture. The book then turns to case studies that reveal astrology's cultural diversity. Robert Hand revisits the English astrologer John Partridge, who flourished in the late 17th and early 18th centuries. Hand asks whether Partridge can be seen as one of the founders of modern astrology. Partridge published widely read almanacs and sought to reform astrology by eliminating what he saw as corruptions from the medieval Arabic tradition, returning instead to Ptolemaic sources. In doing so, he shaped both popular astrology and scholarly discourse, leaving a legacy still felt today. Hand suggests that astrology's modern history has not been one of smooth evolution, but of loss and recovery, with significant elements disappearing and later being rediscovered. Martin Gunston's essay examines the Placidus house system and its reception in early 19th century Britain. Through figures like John Worsdale and Thomas Oaksley, Ganston shows how technical doctrines such as house division became points of debate and identity, revealing the living diversity within astrological technique. Robert Collis, in turn, takes us to the Russian court of Peter the Great, showing how astrology intersected with politics and power. These chapters remind us that astrology has always been bound up with larger social forces, from the printing of almanacs for the common people to its role in imperial courts. Nicholas Godric Clark contributes a fascinating study of astroarchaeology, tracing how 20th century esoteric writers linked monuments like Stonehenge and the Sphinx to celestial alignments and cosmic meaning. This is a striking example of astrology's adaptability merging with archaeology, myth, and alternative history to create new forms of esoteric thought. The practice of astrology. One of the book's most illuminating contributions comes from Darlene Gunsberg, who asks, how do astrologers actually read charts? Based on interviews with practitioners, Gunsberg finds that astrologers describe the act of chart reading in terms of flow, connection, and even altered consciousness. One astrologer reports, quote, I go into another zone where it all just moves so freely and comfortably and easily, end of quote. Another describes the sense of temporarily merging with the larger entity. Gunsberg argues that while some may call chart reading a ritual, it can also be understood as a secular creative act, a synthesis of symbols, intuition, and a dialogue. Her essay captures the lived experience of astrology, where technical knowledge meets in imagination and relationship. J. Johnston's essay extends the theme of practice into the realm of healing, exploring astrology's connection with subtle bodies and energetic traditions. Here, astrology becomes part of a broader metaphysical worldview linked to spiritual health and esoteric philosophy. It demonstrates yet another phase of astrology's plurality, not predictive, not psychological, but energetic and healing orientated. Nicolas Campion himself closes the volume by asking, where does astrology belong in historical periodization? Periodization. Is it pre-modern, modern, or post-modern? His answer is that astrology resists easy classification. It has roots in ancient cosmology, has adapted through modern rationalism, and today thrives in postmodern pluralism. Its capacity to adapt may in fact be the key to its survival. Reflections on diversity and continuity. What unites all these essays is the recognition that astrology is both one and many. The language of planets and signs provides continuity, but the uses, meanings, and contexts of astrology are diverse. Sometimes it is an imperial tool, sometimes a popular entertainment, sometimes a spiritual map, sometimes a therapeutic art. This plurality is not a weakness but a strength. Astrology's adaptability allows it to survive and reinvent itself across centuries. From a scholarly perspective, Astrologies is valuable because it avoids reducing astrology to either superstition or timeless wisdom. Instead, it shows it as a living, evolving set of practices embedded in culture. From a practitioner's perspective, it offers insights into how astrologers past and present have understood their craft and invites reflection on what we are doing when we read charts today. Are we participating in ritual, engaging in creative meaning making, continuing an ancient tradition? The answer the book suggests is that we are doing all these things, depending on context. Conclusion. Astrology's Plurality and Diversity in the History of Astrology is not a technical manual, nor is it simple history. It is a kaleidoscope of perspectives, each essay opening a window onto a different aspect of the astrological tradition. Its strength lies in its diversity. From William James to Peter the Great, from horoscopes as maps of the cosmos to the lived flow of chart interpretation, it reveals astrology as a multifaceted cultural phenomenon for anyone interested in understanding not just how to practice astrology, but what astrology is, as symbol, as history, as philosophy, as lived experience. This book is a rich and thought-provoking resource. So this book, to finalize this video of today, edited by Nicholas Campion and Liz Green, the proceedings of the 8th Annual Conference of the Sophia Center for the Study of Cosmology and Culture, University of Wales, Trinity St. David, in July 2010, printed by Sophia Center Press. And I give you a little bit of the content. So it starts with an introduction, and then Liz Green, Signs, Signature and Symbols, the Language of Heaven. Bernadette Brady, the horoscope as an imago mundi, rethinking the nature of the astrologer's map. Gary Philipson, the philosophy of William James as a context for astrology. Robert Hand, John Partridge, one of the founders of modern astrology. Martin Gunston, Placidian teachings in early 19th century Britain, John Worsdale and Thomas Oxley. Robert Collis, Using the Stars, Astrology of the Court of Peter the Great. Nicholas Goodrick Clark, Stonehenge to the Sphinx. Esoteric Theory and Practice in 20th Century Astroarchaeology. Darrelling Gunsberg, How Do Astrologers Read Charts? Jay Johnston, Reading the Body Invisible, Subtle Bodies, Astrology and Energetic Healing. And Nicholas Campion, Astrology's Place in Historical Periodization, Modern, Pre-Modern or Postmodern. And on page 255, we get the information about the authors. Okay, so that would be Bernadette Brady, holds a Master of Art in Cultural Astronomy and Astrology from Bath University and is a tutor for the MA in Cultural Astronomy and Astrology at the University of Wales, Lampeter, and tutors for Schumacher College in partnership with the University of Plymouth in their Master of Science program on Holistic Science. She is currently reading for her doctorate in determination in Western astrology at the University of Wales, Trinity of St. David, UK. Well, this is written in 2010. She received the Charles Harvey Award, Astrological Association of Great Britain, in 2006, and the Regulus Award for Theory and Understanding in Astrology, UAC, in 2008. Well, remember, I'm reading from a book which was a conference in 2010. Nicholas Campion is director of the Sophia Center, University of Wales, Trinity St. David, senior lecturer in the Department of Archaeology, History and Anthropology, and course director of the MA in Cultural Astronomy and Astrology. His books include A History of Western Astrology, London Continuum, publisher 2009, and Astrology and Cosmology in the World's Religion, New York University Press, 2011. Robert Collis is currently, remember 2010, is currently an honorary research fellow at the University of Sheffield. He completed his PhD at the University of Turkey, Finland, and was previously a student at the University of Sussex. In July 2009, his thesis entitled The Petrine Instauration, Religion, Esotericism and Science at the Court of Peter the Great, 1989 till 1725, won the inaugural thesis prize of the European Society for the Study of Western Esotericism. Robert has written numerous articles on aspects of Western esotericism in early modern Russia, as well as co-editing a volume entitled Freemasonry and Fraternalism in 18th century Russia. Martin Gunston is a historian of religion, specializing in astrological and other divinatory traditions in India as well as the West. He has taken particular interest in the South Indian phenomenon of Nadi reading in the development of the method of primary directions, aphasis, ad tasir, from the early Greek period up to the present day, and in the mutual influences of Persian, Arabic, and Indian astrological traditions in the Middle Ages. He is based in Lund University, Sweden. Nicholas Goodrick Clark, unfortunately deceased in the meantime, we're reading in a book of 2010. Nicholas Goodrick Clark is professor of Western esotericism and director of the Center for the Study of Esotericism, EXESISO, in the College of Humanities at the University of Exeter. He is the author of the Western Esoteric Tradition, OUP 2008, studies of Ramon Lull, Paracelsus, John Dee, Emanuel Swedenborg, and Helena Blavatsky, as well as a trilogy of monographs on the esoteric political connection, the occult roots of Nazism, Hitler's priestess, and Black Sun. He is general editor of Western Esoteric Master Series and joint editor of Aries, the journal for the study of Western esotericism by Brill. Liz Green received a PhD in history from the University of Bristol 2010 and an MA in cultural astronomy and astrology from Bath Spa University 2007 and an MA and PhD in psychology from Los Angeles University in 1971. She is qualified analytical psychologist, Association of Jungian Analysts London, 1983, and a member of the International Association of Analytical Psychology. Her research interests include the Kabbalah, the British occult revival of the late 19th century, and Orphic, Gnostic, early Jewish, and Hermetic astrologies from late antiquity. She is an honorary research fellow at the University of Bristol and a part-time tutor for the MA in Cultural Astronomy and Astrology at the University of Wales, Trinity St. David in the United Kingdom. Darlene Gunsberg is a part-time tutor for the MA in Cultural Astronomy and Astrology at the University of Wales, Trinity St. David, UK. She holds a BA honors from the Open University, majoring in the historical exploration of religious art produced in Italy, 1280 till 1500. Her BA honors dissertation was shortlisted for the AAH Bulletin 2006 BA Dissertation Prize and is being published in St. Andrew's Journal of Art History and Museum Studies in 2010. She's also published books and plays in the fields of playwriting and astrology. She is currently reading for her PhD in art history and astrology at the University of Bristol in the United Kingdom. Robert Hand has been a student of astrology since 1960 and a full-time professional astrologer since 1972. His books include Planets in Composites, Planets in Transit, Planets in Youth, Horoscope Symbols, and Essays on Astrology, and a number of shorter works on traditional astrology. He has been actively translating traditional astrological texts from Latin in connection with his company Arhat, and also has an active astrological consulting practice in the Washington, D.C. area. He is also working on his PhD dissertation in medieval history at the Catholic University of America, and he got his PhD in the meantime. He is currently the chairman of the board of Kepler College. This is in the last days of Kepler College in Seattle when they were allowed to do BAs and MAs in astrology. Jay Johnston is senior lecturer in the Department of Studies in Religion, University of Sydney. Her publications include Angels of Desire, Esoteric Bodies, Aesthetics and Ethics, Equinox 2008. Areas of research include metaphysics, Western esotericism, the role of images in astrology and magic, antiquity to present, philosophy of religion, religion and medicine, and angelology. Angelology. Gary Philipson is a student of astrology, Buddhism, and Advaita. He is a tutor on the MA in Cultural Astronomy and Astrology at the University of Wales, Lampeter, Trinity St. David, where he is working on a PhD looking at theories of truth as they apply to astrology. And about the Sophia Center was set up with funding from the Sophia Trust and is located within the University of Wales, Trinity St. David's School of Archaeology, History and Anthropology. It has a wide-ranging remit to investigate the role of cosmological, astrological, and astronomical beliefs, models, and ideas in human culture, including the theory and practice of myth, magic, divination, religion, spirituality, politics, and the arts. The center teaches the MA in Cultural Astronomy and Astrology via distance learning online and also supervises Master of Philosophy and PhD research. There is no need to live in the UK to study at the Sophia Center. Much of the center's work is historical, but it is equally concerned with contemporary culture and lived experience, and so on. So this was a short video about astrologies, plurality and diversity, proceedings of the 8th Annual Sophia Center Conference 2010, edited by Nicholas Campion and Liz Green. Thanks for showing by. Danke fürs Vorbeischauen und auf bald.